Unless you've been sleeping under a rug, you know that the NCAA transfer portal has changed the way of college sports. But have you ever wondered how the grad transfer process works, or how eligibility works as players are transferring schools and immediately playing for that new school? Well, this is the video for you. So make sure to give this video a thumbs up or a thumbs down because it's your thumb, and let's go ahead and get into it. In April 2021, the NCAA passed a rule that allows all undergrad student athletes one transfer to any school, and they are allowed to play immediately. A lot of power is being given back to student athletes as we have the passing of the NIL. I've done an entire video on the NIL and talking about how much money there is to be made. You can check it out right here, and I'll link it down in the description as well. But even though the overhead NCAA allows this rule for players to play immediately, conferences still had the power in which that if a student athlete wanted to change within that conference, that they would have to sit out a year. But since passing this rule, the SEC, the ACC, the Pac-12, and the Big 12 has changed their rule that allows student athletes that are changing interconference to play immediately following the NCAA rule. Even though these athletes can play immediately, there are a few rules that they have to follow. The biggest rule is deciding when they want to transfer. And all the conferences have to follow the NCAA rule, which give athletes playing a fall and winter sport the deadline to decide when they want to be transferred, and spring sports the deadline of July 1st. But the SEC is the only conference that has their own timeline of when they allow athletes to make that decision to stay within the SEC. And that timeline is that if you would like to play a fall sport, you must let them know by February 1st. And if you are playing a winter sport, you must let them know by May 1st. And if you're playing a spring sport, you must let them know by July 1st. Now, according to the NCAA and the SEC, this rule does not say that these athletes must know where they want to go by these deadlines. It is that these athletes must be in the transfer portal by those deadlines. Before this rule change, the only athletes who could immediately play after transferring were graduate transfers. And you might know a few famous graduate transfer quarterbacks, as Jalen Hurts transferred to Oklahoma in 2019. And usually people who are grad transfer are 4-year athletes that have redshirted, or people who have fast-tracked their degrees and have gotten a 4-year degree in 3 years. Now, I have an entire video explaining all the details within the NCAA transfer portal as I explain the time clock that are on these athletes, in which they have 5 years to play 4 years. If you'd like to know more about this, check out this video right here as I linked it down in the description. And the transfer portal saw more athletes join it after this rule was changed, as in 2020 there was 3,000 men's basketball players and football players, with 1/3 of them including walk-ons in the transfer portal. And 1,200 of those players were just men basketball players fighting for scholarship spots at other schools. The significance of the amount of players joining the transfer portal is still being seen this year. Eli Ricks, who used to be a player at LSU, transferred to Alabama, and it is a statement that shows that being able to play interconference is now being very seen at the front court of this sport, as well as the transfer portal is allowing good teams to still be good, as Alabama was able to grab Jahmyr Gibbs out of the transfer portal, who played at Georgia Tech in the 2021 season as well. And with every positive, there does come a negative, and that is seen right here in the transfer portal, as coaches say that it is going to damage and destruct the game of college sports, but specifically college football at the helm. As Nebraska head football coach Scott Frost said that this is a dangerous way to go about sports, and especially by allowing interconference changes immediately to be played, because it could allow players to still have the upper edge on their former teams, or they're possibly taking spots away from high school athletes. And this has definitely been seen, as Texas State did not sign any high school players in the 2021 signing class. They instead got all of their players from the transfer portals, and these players ranked from the SEC to community colleges. And this is the future of especially college football, as a lot of talent is being chosen in these transfer portals, as some schools would have probably never seen their success if it wasn't for that transfer portal. For example, LSU would have never won that national championship if they did not get Joe Burrow out of Ohio State during the transfer portal years. But one of the biggest critiques of the transfer portal this particular season is that it is being tied to NIL. Quinn Ayers, who was a freshman quarterback at Ohio State, was probably known as one of the biggest athletes in the NIL deal world, as he was given a $1.4 million NIL deal from GT Sports Marketing back in the summer, and it suggested that the reason why he transferred from Ohio State was that he had NIL obligations that said he had to play. And Ohio State did shoot those rumors down and said that his transfer had absolutely nothing to do with NIL, and now he is the quarterback at Texas University. Well, now that you know about the transfer portal eligibility and that players can play immediately, make sure to check out this video right here where I talk about how the transfer portal really works, as well as leave me a comment down below telling me who do you think can possibly be the best transfer portal pickup this college football off season. And make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified every time I post a new video, which are on Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As well as give this video a thumbs up or a thumbs down because it's still your thumb. And remember, don't be afraid to join the convo. Fighting for scholarship spots at other schools.